Hi. Whoa. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're watching. This is JP. Welcome back. This is Tuesday Tunes. And we're going to play some tunes. I'm going to play some tunes with this. This is the RC505. Let me just turn this on. There we go. And that way you can see what I'm doing. So I've got a camera just here, it's my phone, pointing at this. And then I've also got some stuff on the floor. So I've got a pedal on the floor, and I've got an expression pedal on the floor as well, just so I can control things with my feet, as well as controlling with my hands with the Boss RC505 Mark II. So before we do that, just a couple of things. This is basically Tuesday Tunes with JP, and this live stream is sponsored, and it's sponsored by a friend over at DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company, so if you've got songs and you want to put them out there in the world, DistroKid can help you. And what you can do is you give your songs to them, and they push it out to all the online stores and music streaming sites around the world, and then obviously you can get all the royalties, and then that's it. You can basically be seen around the world through lots of different things. Now, DistroKid, normally most music distributors charge you one price per year, which is... Let me start that again. Most music distributors charge you one price per release, and then obviously DistroKid don't do that. They charge you one price per year. And it starts at $19.99. There's a couple of different tiers as well. I won't go into it too much. I'll go into it a little bit later. But there's a link that's just there. There it is. And if you click that link, it's in the description box as well. That'll give you 7% off your first annual membership with DistroKid. Thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this live stream. Right then, so let's have a quick look. Christian, how are we doing? You okay? I hope you can hear me, by the way. Oh, you're awesome. Thank you very much. Cheers. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do one little thing. Let me know if it's too quiet or if it's too loud, tough. No, but if it's distorting, please let me know. So let's just put this back the way it is, like this. And we'll do that. And let's go. I didn't touch that at all. I did it with my feet, and I'm going to show you how in a minute. Unfamiliar, and I could get used to this. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. Ride a shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. Shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. Whoa. Shotgun, someone, someone. Whoa. Shotgun, hot sun, someone. Whoa. Shotgun. Sun, someone, whoa. Shotgun, hot sun, someone, whoa. We're south of the equator, navigator, gonna hit the road, gonna hit the road. If she diving round the clock, bikini bottoms, lager tops, could get used to this. Time flies by and the yellow and green stick around, and you see what I mean. It's a mountain top I'm dreaming of. Meet me, you know what I mean. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. Whoa. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. Whoa. Two in the front, two in the back, sailing along, and we don't look back, 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 back. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. Whoa, I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. Whoa, yeah. Hot sun, someone. Whoa, hot sun, someone. Whoa, I'll be riding shotgun in the hot sun with a someone. Whoa, I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone, 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 someone. Cheers. So, thought I'd just start off with a George Ezra tune, which is Shotgun. So I'm playing around with the RC505 Mark II, which is right here. And you may have noticed that during that performance, there's times when I actually did touch it with my hands, and there's times when I didn't touch it with my hands. And that's because I've actually got a pedal on the floor. So that pedal is the Morningstar Mc8. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to very gingerly move this camera. So if you have a look down here, there's a Morningstar Mc8. If we're going a bit further, there we go. So the Morningstar Mc8, which is an 8-pedal programmable MIDI thing, and then it's actually connected wirelessly with a little thing called a WIDI jack, and then that's sending Bluetooth information to the RC505. This is my expression pedal, and it's actually expression pedal for all of the loops. I haven't used it yet, but it actually is assigned to that. And then if I just put that back there, there we go. That's my little shaker egg, by the way. If you're wondering what it was. There we go. So I'm going to put it like that so you can just about see my little tambourine and everything, but you can just about see my pedal there. And I'm just trialing this out. I'm just seeing how it is from a sort of music point of view as opposed to just tapping on here. So what I've done is I've actually set the pedal up with the Morningstar with a loop increase and a loop decrease. And what that means is if I just do this, when I press the button, you'll see this little blue dot on the screen. Can you see that? A tiny little blue dot on the screen actually moving up and down, and that's selecting which loop it is. And I've got another one going the other way. I've got another one decrease. I've just done, I was hoping for it to be a short video, but it's not, it was too long. Because I want to get the information out. Oh, I'm moving this camera. I need to like an adjustable arm or something. There we go. I've got an adjustable arm, it's just all fixed. So basically, I am going to do that for a second. Oh, there we go. Sounds great. Thank you for the inspiration. You're more than welcome, Christian. It's all right. What's that? Is that Clipperboard's Medicart? They call you Medicart then. That was silly. There we go. Oh, hello. By the way, the laptop is like right over there, so it's actually quite difficult to reach. There we go. So what I've done is on here, I've programmed it up in such a way where I've got record the current track, just record, whatever track it's on, and then when I move up and down on this board here, then what I can do is I can record a specific track. So, do you know what? I was really happy with where that was positioned to begin with, and now I'm not. I'm not really a perfectionist, I just liked it where it was. I think it was about there. That's close enough. So as I tap on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this by going up and down the memory. And I've got this saved in a specific way. So now as I turn it back on, you can hear loads of echo. Hello. And there we go. Clapping. Oh, clapping board. Clever. I'll see what you did there. Nice. Get it? I get it. Yeah, sorry. So what we can do is I can actually record. I've got this set, so track 1 is this one, and I can obviously hit it with my hands, but what I can do is I can hit record current track on the Morningstar. And this is not sponsored by Morningstar or anything, it's actually sponsored by DistroKid, but I can go boom, 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 and as you can see, it goes straight into overdub and then into play if I hit it a second time. And then I can hit it with my finger or I can hit it with my foot. And that way it gives me flexibility for both. Of course, 5 tracks as opposed to 6 on the RC600. And then I can actually adjust the volume of each track independently. Or I can use the pedal that I've got down here, the expression pedal, to control the volume of all 5 loops at once. So if I was to put something down, I went boom, 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 boom. So I can control this. Now, well, the way I've got that set up is it's actually controlling just the volume of the one you've selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly put it back to the way it was because I was doing that for the video that just came out and I forgot to put it back before we started live streaming. So assign, oops, really echoey, assign number 9, and instead of current track, we're going to be, yeah, there we go. This is what happens when you're live and you don't set things up. There we go. It's around here somewhere. There's so many different things you can assign to this thing, which is incredible. And it's great. But obviously, as you know, there's a lot to learn if you're playing around with it. So one thing you can do, bonjour! What is your expression pedal? Well, the expression pedal I'm using right now for this setup is the M Audio expression pedal. And do you know what? It's about £12, I think, on Amazon. I do have a link to it in the description box on this live stream if you want to have a look at it. So that's what I'm using right now, but I also use another one on the RC600 pedalboard. Yes, it is an M Audio, yes, the M Audio one. But the other one I use on the pedalboard is a mini one, and that's actually made by Sonic Cake, and it's called the Vespress. Don't know how to pronounce it. You have the same one. Yeah, it's dead easy, and it works. That's the thing. So that's the really, really nice thing about it. It works. You just plug it in, and there's a little grey dial on the inside of the volume expression pedal, and you just adjust it how you want, or of course you can adjust it on the system. Right, now this should be working. Now they're all still going, and I haven't, this is the volume loop level, so as you can hear, I'm controlling that with my foot right now. Should have put a third camera up, shouldn't I? So you could have seen what I'm doing with my foot. Never mind. That's my foot, just adjusting the volume accordingly. Now the reason why I do that is because if I get to a venue and it's like way too loud based on the things here, then I can adjust it accordingly. But also, you can do some cool things with it. And I've said this before, but you can drop in and drop out. And this is something that what Ed Sheeran does. He does a little bit of a technique like this. But yeah. So I'm dropping it out. You get your timing right. You can get really, really creative with it. But of course I can adjust it. You can also do your own fades as well, so I can just fade it out. There we go. And then you can fade it back in. You were all waiting for the noise. But you get the idea. So yeah, that's that little expression. It's not little actually. That's that expression pedal, the M Audio expression pedal. I don't know if it's got an official name other than the M Audio expression pedal. But what I've managed to do is wrap my guitar cable around it, which is really clever. But it's this one. So this is the one I've just picked it up off the wall. And there's this little dial here, so you can adjust how much. And yeah, it's got like a little switch underneath. So either M Audio or other. I just leave it on M Audio, and it works. That's it. It's nice and big. It's about the size of my foot. My foot's like a sort of size 10.5. The M Audio EX-P Universal Expression Controller pedal, according to my link. Thanks, Dave. So there we go. And then the other thing is as I said, it's the Morningstar. Now the Morningstar you could plug in with normal MIDI cables, but if you look very carefully here, if I just was able to, am I able to do it like that? There we go. So, right. So if you look very carefully here, this is the WIDI Master, and it's basically 5-pin DIN in and out, and it sends Bluetooth. Okay. Now they could do another one called the WIDI Jack, and that's actually on the Morningstar. So that little thing, this one, there, little blue thing, 5-pin DIN to TRS, and yeah, it works. So then that way they're just sending, and that's just a power cable at the end of the day. You can actually run it off things like a 5-watt sort of like battery pack, like a iPhone phone battery pack. See this there? See the way it's flashing away like crazy? Well, so is this one. You just can't see it. So then when you control something, it can control it. And the great thing as well is with the Morningstars now, they've done updates. So this is the older one because it's got like a black background with white writing. They've done it the other way. They've gone to LCD displays, and they're much brighter and easier to understand and see. But it also shows you the BPM, so it's actually constantly sending the BPM across, which is really, really handy. So yeah, so I just wanted to sort of change that so we can we do it that way? Oh yeah, we can, let's do it that way. There we go. You don't need to see my face, you want to see the tech, don't you? I'm going to be constantly moving the camera around on this live stream all the way through. So you guys, oop, that was too far. There we go. Let's just do that. My big hairy arm. Right, so I've got the flexibility to sort of record either with my hands and just use this as like sort of like DJs and beatboxers do with the 505s. And Boss seem to be promoting it that way. They seem to promote it where the 505 is predominantly for people who want to beatbox or they want to do that. But I want to have a look at it from a singer-songwriter point of view and just like, is it feasible? Now, it's not as controllable as things like the RC600 where you've got, you can go straight to your feet. Now, I've programmed the Morningstar up in such a way where I've gone, right, go to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. So I have to choose that. You could program the Morningstar up to be each button is one of the loops. So you could have it like that, but then obviously you're going to run out very quickly. And then you've got no other controls. So you can actually have 16 buttons on the Morningstar, but there's different ways of doing it. But then if you're going to just put a quick loop down, you might not need all 5. You might get the 202, which is another one of Boss's tabletop loopers. Now, one thing I've found that I quite like doing with the 505 is, I'm going to move over here now. Oh, did I put that back? Sorry. Let me just put it back that way. There we go. One thing I like is this, is you've got the 2 different dials here. This is for your input effects and your track effects. They are right there, and you don't have to go into modes or anything. You can reprogram them, but what's the point? I mean, the thing is, it's just right there. So straight away I can do, and that's B for bass. I always put the bass on B. And I've put it on here, down on the Morningstar as well. But one thing I've got as well, I've got this one where if you just hold that down and click it, you can edit it straight away. It goes straight into the editor. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's now in the effects editor by holding that down and pressing the one you want. So getting into the menu system of the RC505 is much faster. Plus, you've also got control. So instead of just turning an effect on and effect off, I've actually got the control dial here, so I can control how much is on there. So, for example, This is a low pass filter, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And you can have some real creative play with that. Why would I want that for looping? Well, for example, what I could do is I could do this. So it sounds a little bit like a wah-wah. Okay? The bass, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is my normal voice, all the way on the left-hand side. And as we keep going, now that's just the bass at 100%. Another one you've got here is this one. That's just my voice being chopped up by the, oops, there we go, by the pattern slicer. And it depends on the BPM of the track. Sorry, it's totally dependent on the BPM of the track, which is really, really useful. And the last one is reverb. Now I've got the reverb. If I get out of this memory and go back into it straight away, the reverb here. There's a reverb. There's a master reverb on the system. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. Again, why would you want that? One thing as well is if I turn it off, I'm just going to go hey and then turn it instantly off. Hey! The tail is still there, which is really nice. Some effects processors don't do that. If you turn it off, it cuts the sound off, even the tail, which is really annoying. But things like this are really good for what I use on the TC Helicon. I've got like a sound very similar, and it sounds a little bit sort of like a monk sound, if that makes sense. Now the other thing as well, there we go. Now the other thing as well is you can do all of this with an RC600, but you're going to need extra controls. You're going to need like a foot pedal to adjust the amount if you don't want to use your hands. And of course, that's still the case here. I've got to use my hand to adjust this. But it depends on what you need. And I've also, the big one for me is independent volume control. So of course, I've got this down now. Maybe that's too loud. And obviously there, nice. Now what I can do as well is I can start adding track effects, and I've got a track effect here on on letter B, where actually this starts swirling from one side to another. It's an auto pan. So you're going to start, hopefully, if you're listening to this in stereo, you're going to start hearing it swirling from one side to the other. If you can't, then you might be in mono, or this might be producing in mono. It should be coming out in stereo. But yeah, you can do that. The other thing I've got as well is, let me just stop these guys. So with the track effects, I've got a step slicer, I've got an auto pan, I've got a transpose, and I've got an LPF as well. And the LPF on a track is really, really useful. So let me just put something down. Pretty lazy little track. The LPF on the input effect. Now, if I use the LPF here, I can cut it out while I'm still playing, so I can. I don't know what key this was in. But you get the idea. So you can still hear the guitar and the microphone whilst that's going. Of course, I can bring this back. And I turn it off, it all comes back in. It's like a nice little dip down. But you can do that. You could do that with a effects pedal, like expression effects pedal, and then just assign that to an LPF, which is really, really cool. Ahoy, pills! Ahoy, Captain. So I just wanted to show you there's obviously a couple of differences. Now, I've played around with the 505 before on the live stream, but I've been messing around, as I say, with the controls a little bit more. And I've got assigned, for example, I've got, if I do harmonies on track 5, this one here is a pattern slicer. It's only assigned to track 5, but it's on the track effects. So I can turn it on and off, so it's not going to affect, I can't, if I do it on here, if I do it on the input effects and burn it in, with the pattern slicer, I can't turn that off. Whereas with the track effects, it's like applying effect on top of what you've already recorded. So I'll give you an example. I just need a little bit of a beat. Okay. All right then, so we've got this little beat going this. How can I make that more interesting? Well, you get the idea? So you can actually then assign track effects to a single track as opposed to the whole lot. So the alternative with the RC505 is there is a dedicated FX button. This is this red button at the top. So if you've got something like the LPF, that's assigned to all 5 tracks. So if I play it now, okay. But what I can do is I can turn that off on these. So the beat is normal, but everything else, tracks 3, 4, and 5, are affected by that. I hope that makes sense. So yeah. Piers, so you might get up some fairly drastic EQ in your input for when you're beatboxing, but you'd have your filter sweeps slicing effects on the effects channel. Yes, so I see what you mean. So basically you've got the choice and you can do obviously lots of different things. But what I've done is on this one, I've got it here, that's my bass, that's my bass. This one is a pattern slicer. And I'm just singing So yeah, and then that's it. Now the other thing you'll find, I've just dropped the plectrum into the hole. Oh no. Oh no, I haven't. It just dropped onto the floor. That's fine. You know what it's like. Yeah, there was a thing where basically on before version 1.2, where the amount of effect when you hit things like the slicer, it would just chop in at like 100%. So on version 1. I can't remember if it was 1.2 or 1.21, you can now adjust that. So then when the effect kicks in, it can actually drop down a little bit. In fact, let's check it out. Where is it? Bank. There we go. So let's just go on to, where is it? Step slicer, there it is. So yeah, so there you go. If you go into it, let me just take the guitar off for a sec. And what I'll do is I'll move the camera. Again. But this time I'm taking it off. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to hold the camera here. So if I go into the step slicer here. Oh, it's out of focus. Focusing. There we go. So if I go into the step slicer here, you can see it's there. And then if you go across one, I hope you can see that, you've got threshold and gain. So you can add in the gain and threshold right here. So now that's one of the newer features. So it's a lot easier. That's what she said. What did I say? Or is it what Pierce said? What did I do? What was the double entendre I said? Anyway. Right, so with that said, of course, there's lots of things we can do with this. And of course, you can do this all with your hands, but then with having the Morningstar on the bass, on the bottom here, I can actually do loads here whilst also playing. And I also used to use the TC Helicon Voice Live Play Acoustic. I still use it with the RC600, and I was like, oh, I'm going to miss it with the harmonies. But the other thing I used it for, which is a real simple thing, which is actually muting the guitar whilst I unplugged it. Because you can see here I've got two guitars. One is DADGAD and one is normal tuning. If you haven't heard the podcast about how I use DADGAD and why I use DADGAD, then go and check out the podcast. But nice little thing for you, if you press enter, you'll get into the mixer. And what you do is you can just click on the input and it'll mute it. And that's just something really, really nice. So, for example, now you can't hear me, I was saying, because I muted it. And that's really, really nice and simple because you can just go click and then unplug and then plug something else in. You're not going to hit a boom either live streaming or through my PA, which is over there. It's just over there. Anyway. This is meant to be Tuesday Tunes. What's going on? Right. You dropped your pick into the hole. Oh, okay. Funny. No, genuinely. The child in me, honestly. Right. So I'm going to play another tune, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I actually did it. So this one is, let's have a quick look. Where are we? Where was I going to play? This is in the order I do gigs, but it's not in the order that I'm going to do things today. Yeah, there it is. There. Hopefully you can hear that.
Decides after 70 years what he comes in for is to unlock that door. Those around him criticize and sneer. Through a fracture on a breaking wall, I see you, my friend, and touch your face again. Miracles will happen as we trip. But we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we are a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless you go to Studio 1954, The Reflections. No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little hazy. I'm glad it sounds good, thank you. Yellow people running through my head. One of them's got a gun, shoot the other one. Yet together they were friends at school. I was there when you first touched that pill. Maybe, miracles will happen as we trip you. But we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we're a little crazy. No, we're never gonna survive unless we are a little.
So yeah, so there we go. Thank you very much. Clap, clap, clap. Studio 1954, The Reflections. That sounds like a name and an album name in one. I like that. It's quite cool. Nice. Jade Star is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. And other genders. You got to say that now, haven't you? Sorry, apologies. Ladies and gentlemen and other genders. Jade Star is in the house. Dave, nicely done, JP. Thanks. So again, I just wanted to actually say, you may notice there that I actually recorded this. And that's E minor, G, and A. But then I have to turn it off for the chorus. And down here, down by my feet, is the Morningstar Mc8 pedal, the MIDI pedal. And I've assigned one of the buttons to be turn off the current track. So if I play all the three of these now, it sounds awful because we've got different chords on here and different chords on here. And then it's like, well, I could turn these into single mode, so one plays, then the other plays, and the other plays, and the other plays. Here we go. I'd love to do a freestyle about vacuum cleaners. Okay. Yeah. For those who don't know, ooh, careful, Dave, careful. For those who don't know, there was a big, funny moment about a demonstration about vacuum cleaners, and it'll never leave me because Medcar just won't let it go. Anyway, moving back to this. So as I'm able to turn off, hey, I'm able to stop the current track. So the current track I'm on is this one. So if I hit it now with my foot, you'll see track 2 plays because that's the current track. And I can turn it off again. So, cheers. Took me ages to stop referring to chat as ladies and gentlemen. It's not even like everyone is hard to say. I know. And you can also go, hi folks, because everyone is folks, right? Hi folks. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's just a thing that we're trained into in our brains from years and years of gigging. And it's fine. It's just an adjustment and it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. So then this one here on track 3 is the chorus.
No one ever gonna survive.
Now I threw that in at the end, but just as a busking moment really. But if I was programming this, I could actually have these two as single mode. So then when I go from one to the other, it'll jump from one to the other. That's fine. The other thing as well for the RC600 and the 505 Mark II, if you've got things in single mode and you stop everything and then you just hit start, stop, it will play the first single mode. And that's really, really important because if you've got, let me just change this now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, this is our drums. This is our verse, and this is our chorus. So I'm going to change these over to single mode. Oops, sorry. I'm going to change these over to single mode. So how you do that is you go into loop, you pick the track. So I'm going to go to track 2, click it, go across 2, and then you'll see that it's in multi. You can't see this, but it is. And then you just change it over to single. Then all you need to do is press loop again. You go into track 3, and then put that into single. So that's now in single mode. And you can put it in single mode after you've recorded it, which is really, really interesting. But if I just hit all start stop now, these two will play, but that one will not, because that's the first single mode. So you have to be really careful with that, because if you do a start stop and then you want to start and stop and go into the chorus, it won't do it. It'll go into that one. So you have to be really careful with that. So if I start stop everything now and then start it again, you can see it's going into track 1 and 2, because track 1 will play anyway because it's a multi, but track 2 is single mode, and it's the first one. So the only way you can do that, of course, is by planning it which way around you want to do. If you're doing a start-stop, you have to plan it. So now I've got these separated. We can play this. So with my hands busy on the guitar, how on earth do I do that? Now I could do that myself, but I'm going to stop playing the guitar. So what I've done is I've actually set this up so I said this earlier on, but for those who weren't here, I've set this up so you've got up and down. So you've got literally current track up and down on the Morningstar. I've called it loop increase and loop decrease, and what that means is go up to the next loop or down to the next loop. So if I go across the next loop, which I've done, and we press this, so it's the little white dot is sitting, and this happens on the RC600 as well. The little white dot is sitting on what's called the current track. That is the current track. So therefore, if we press all start stop, it'll still stay there. And then what I can do is I can just tell that to play. So that'll cancel out this one because it's single mode. So if I hit this with my finger, that'll cancel out. But if I hit it with the button down there, it'll do the same thing, hopefully.
No one ever gonna survive unless we got a little crazy. No one ever gonna survive unless we got a little crazy.
Now if it's all start stop, and then you go start again, it's going to start back on this one. So I'll do that again. Start, stop the chorus.
No one ever gonna survive unless we got a little
Start, stop everything, and then we're going to hit
no one ever gonna survive
start, stop again. It'll go back into verse.
unless we got a little crazy. No one ever gonna survive unless we got a little crazy.
See what I did there? So then that goes into the first one. So that drops out, that drops in. It's just something to be aware of on both the RC600 and the RC505, whether you're using tabletop or not. And if you start and stop all and start and stop all again, so you're over here on track 4 and all of these are single mode, it will jump to track 2 if that's single mode and that's multi. I just wanted you to be aware of that because it is something that's playable. And if you are someone who basically would like to start and stop and then go into the chorus, then you need to put your chorus as the first one and your verse as the second one. I know that sounds a bit bizarre because then obviously then as you stop the verse, you hit it again and then the chorus kicks in. If you're someone who's basically goes, well, I'm always going to start and stop the chorus at the end and go back into the verse, then you need to swap them around and do it that way around. I hope that makes sense. So this is where the flexibility of decent computer or tablet-based loopers can come in handy, but that's so many more boxes. It is, because all I've got to do is take that. Now, I'm tempted to do an open mic night where basically I'm not taking an instrument at all and actually just do vocals with this, because there's enough with the track effects and the input effects to get away with it if you're just doing like 2 or 3 numbers. If you're doing a full night, of course, then it's a little bit different. But if you're using things like an iPad just here, then you're also going to need an audio interface, a mixer, and then if you want to, You don't need a mixer, but you do actually. You need an audio interface, and then that audio interface has got to be good enough to control the individual inputs of the volume. Most of them are now. Most of them you've got independent control input-wise. But if not, and then it's just an audio interface, you then need a mixer to go into that. And some mixers are audio interfaces as well. So you might want to do it that way around, where you have a USB mixer, and then that goes into there, and that's fine. And then on top of all that, some people want to actually not touch the iPad because it's a tablet and you get sweaty fingers and everything else. So you want a controller, and then you end up with something like the Akai APC40 or the Push or something like that. So you're right, it has so many more boxes. And then what you need to do is then cable all that up into something nice and tidy. And then if you're a player who plays with your feet, you need a pedalboard. So it can be really, really confusing in that respect. There's a lot more equipment involved if you're using a tablet-based or PC or Mac-based looper, because you're going to need more. You're going to need an interface. You're going to need a controller. That's the kind of major things, isn't it? An interface to plug everything in, and a controller to control it, so you don't have to touch the screen or touch the laptop or whatever. So it depends on what you want. I mean, the thing is, Piers, funnily enough, I'm just going to bring Piers' comment up there because actually it's kind of important. So he's put basically iPad and audio interface work surprisingly well on open mic running off the iPad battery. That is exactly what I did, but with the phone. So I actually had it where I had a tiny little audio interface. I've got a little, I can't remember who makes it now. It's a tiny little audio interface. It's on the channel. I've put it on the channel before. And it's, I had it basically plugged in with the right adapter, and it was the older version of this phone. And with a little adapter, and then I just had that with a microphone and a guitar, and it was plugged into that. And I had the IK Multimedia Blue board, so it's 4 buttons Bluetooth to that. And you've got a couple of apps running at the same time, but it worked, and it worked fine. And you're not taking anything other than, it all fits in a guitar bag, basically. So if you've got your guitar, and then normally the pocket on a guitar bag, it will fit all into that. So something like that is really, really cool if you're doing it that way, but then it depends on how many things you're plugging in, it depends on the effects. If you're doing stuff like Dub Effects is doing, and he's obviously doing a lot of vocal stuff, he's got an 18 in, 20 out audio interface. Now that's complete overkill, but it's his audio interface that he also uses in the studio as well, so it means he can output all the loops independently using something like Loopy Pro. I'm just getting him a drink because I'm thirsty. Simple as that. So there's loads of different things you can do. It depends on how you want to loop. Some kind of wireless handheld controller would be great, so I can take the mic off the stand. Wireless handheld controller. Talk to me, Piers. What do you mean? You want to take the mic off the stand? What, so then you can control it with the mic? Now, TC Helicon made a microphone which had 4 buttons on it. What was it called? The 835FX. It was like partnered with Sennheiser, I think. And when you press the button, it sent the signal through that to actually control the TC Helicon stuff. So you could actually go loop, effects, and that was really cool. It was really ahead of its time. But people didn't pick up on it, and I actually had that microphone. I lost that microphone, actually. For people who know, I live in the northwest of the UK, and where the nearest city is Liverpool, and I actually lost it in the Albert Dock, actually went into the water whilst busking. Don't ask, it was a long, long time ago. So, yeah, basically, it depends on how you want to loop. It depends on how you want to control your looper. But yeah, it's all good. Definitely it racks up and supports big band when the gig's with them, absolutely. So yes, so there's loads of different ways you can actually do it with looping, and I've just managed to put my cursor on my iPad because of the whole 2-screen thing. That was really clever. So whilst we're here and we're talking, this live stream is sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. And DistroKid are a music distribution company. So if you've got music that you have got ready or you're getting ready and you want to get out there, obviously we're looking at now with the sort of like holiday season, because you're looking at about 4-week wait, really kind of like to get promotion and get everything out there if you want to. Always the rule of thumb is about 4 weeks. Then DistroKid can help you. They can actually send it out to all the different places like Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon Music, Pandora, Tidal, all these different places. They also send it out to social media sites. So they send it out to Facebook, Meta, everything that Meta owns, so Instagram, and then also things like TikTok and YouTube. So you can actually use your own music in the reel or the story and get paid for it, and so can anyone else as well. They can use your music. So if it's catchy or it's kind of like catching on, like, you know, viral and stuff, you're going to get paid for that. So when you release a single, an EP, an album, with most other music distributors, they charge you per release. But DistroKid don't do this. What they do is they charge you per annum, per year, so one price per year, and that starts at $19.99. But they've also got a couple of tiers as well. So they've got things like Musicians Plus. That's what I'm on. So you have two different outfits. So I've got me as John Paul, and then me and my friend Greg are Tokyo Wasteland. So if you want to go and listen to Tokyo Wasteland, I didn't come up with the name. He did. Amazing name for synthwave music. And I'm the singer and do a bit of stuff, and he does the other stuff. And so if you want to have a listen to that, but then Musicians Plus is about $35.99 a year. But more importantly, with Musicians Plus, you can schedule the date of your release, and that's really important for things like Spotify, because you could schedule it on a Friday. Make sure that you can hit like those playlists, like the sort of like discovery playlists and things like that as well. They've got loads of different stuff on there, and DistroKid have just brought out DistroVid. If you've seen a couple of my videos recently, I just made a music video and showed you how I made it on my own with no one else around. And actually how I made it on my own, I needed someone else to film me showing you how I made it on my own. But the actual music video was made by myself, and then a new track has come out as well, which is basically called Trying to Say Hello. So go and have a look at those. But also, these guys are the people who help me actually get my music and my music video out there. So there's a link that's on the screen right now. It's in the description box as well. So if you give that link a click, you get 7% off your first annual membership with DistroKid. It helps me out, and it actually doesn't cost you anything extra. In fact, it saves you 7%. So it saves you money. So give that link a click. You're helping the channel out by doing that. If you're on YouTube and you are finding the content of this useful or helpful, then give it a thumbs up, and that will actually then push it out to more people now so they can actually watch it, and also later on today. And if you really, 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 really like what we're doing here, then on YouTube there's a little heart with a $sign, and that's called a super thanks, and that's a little bit like tipping a content creator. So you're welcome to do that. You're not obliged to do it. Obviously, we're always going to be doing this, no problem, but that also helps me out as well. Right, I'm going to stop and take a breath. What was that? Curious to know, did your video go okay on Vivo via DistroKid? I released my first video last week, and it's a great experience. There we go. So Jade is also using DistroKid to release their first music video. Go and check it out. Go and check out Jade's store anyway. Some amazing stuff all about iOS apps and music-related apps as well. So Jade actually takes a lot of time to test stuff, so that way you don't have to. So go and have a look at Jade's channel anyway. But yes, all good so far. And it's fine. I know we were talking about the titles, weren't we? About worried about whether it's going to get kicked back or not. No, it's fine. It's on there. No problem. It's all good. So it's all cool. Where we go? Steve, how we doing? So hey JP, just subscribe to your channel after following your RC600 videos. Super helpful and clear. Saw you were live, so stopped to say thanks. You're welcome. No problem at all. There is actually a playlist of the RC600 stuff. There's now, I think it's 35 videos, including me being silly and going, I like when I opened it and stuff. But there we go. Thank you very much for the subscribe. Go and have a look at the playlist. And I also do have a course on the RC600. It is a full-blown course from start to finish. Some people have actually called it a Bible. Thank you, Dave, which is lovely. But yeah, there's a full-blown course there. You know, obviously no obligation to get it, but it would help me out massively. But what I also do have for the RC600 users is I have a pedal planner. So when you get the RC600, you'll know that you can actually change the pedals, and you can change them what they want. And they've got 9 buttons on them, and there's 3 modes. That's 27 buttons per song. And you can change them, and you can reorganize them and reprogram them how you like. So what you can do is, if you go to johnpaulmusic.co.uk, which is my website, let me just do that. There we go. Hey! But if you go to johnpaulmusic.co.uk, go to the bottom of the page, or the very first page, and there is a pedal planner there, and it's free. You can just download it. So put your email address in, I'll send it to you. And it's a PDF download where you can put all your pedals in, where you want them to be, and it's just a little bit help you organize the RC600. So I hope that helps you. Go and have a look at my courses there as well, including how to loop like a pro. No pressure, JP, no pressure. So let's get back onto doing what we would normally do on this. So this is the RC505. So Steve, obviously I've just teased you with the 600. This is the 505. Jade, you removed your lower thirds just in case. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Mine was all right, so I don't know how I got away with it. Maybe that'll get pulled down. Who knows? So yeah, so this is the RC505. This is the tabletop brother of the 600. Exactly the same brain. But most people look at this for kind of like beatboxing and sort of like doing loads of stuff like that. And there's some amazing beatboxers out there who do some amazing stuff with this, and they're very, very into using the bank effects and changing the way the effects are to change their entire sound. And I'm blown away. I don't know how they do it. It's just a completely different way of working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of things, how I'm using this right now. And I'm just testing this right now and I'm using it. My main one is still the RC600 for gigging. But what I've done is I've actually got 2 pedals on the floor and they're connected to this. So one is the Morningstar Mc8 MIDI controller, and I've got 8 buttons doing different things for this. And I've also got the M Audio VE hyphen whatever P expression pedal is called. And it's an expression pedal, so I can control the volume of the loops. So let's just do a quick loop now. Because this is Tuesday Tunes, and I played 2 tunes in an hour. That's pretty impressive. Right then, okay. Crazy, right?
Sun beating down, burning my feet just walking around. Hot sun making me sweat, getting close, hasn't got me yet. I can dance, I can talk, only thing about me is the way that I walk. I can dance, I can sing, I'm just standing here selling everything. On the beach, and I was talking to me, but she's out of reach. She's got a body under that shirt. All she wants to do is rub my face in the dirt. I can dance, I can talk, only thing about me is the way that I walk. I can dance, I can sing, I'm just standing here selling, and everything is in place. You never know who's looking on.
remember the original.
Young punk spilling beer on my shoes. Fat guys talking to me, trying to steal my blues. Think smoke, see her smiling through. I never thought so much could happen. Just shoot and pull. I can dance, I can talk. Only thing about me is the way that I walk. I can dance, I can't sing. I'm just standing here selling. Everything is in place. You never know who's looking on. Perfect body and the perfect face. Oh, da 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 Only thing about me is the way that I walk. I can't dance, I can't sing. I'm just standing here selling. I can't dance, I can't talk. Only thing about me is the way that I walk. I can't dance, I can't sing. I'm just standing here selling. I can't dance, I can't talk. Only thing about me is the way that I walk. I can't dance, I can't sing. I'm just standing here selling.
So there we go. So once again, just using the 5 tracks there, and I'm just going to take the guitar off. I'm going to break this down. So the entire thing is on capo 3 before I take the guitar off. Third capo, and this is E, D, and A. So E for a long time, and then D and A. And then there's a couple of bits in between where I'm using sort of C and then just down just for the break. But the main riff starts with this. So track 1 we put down. This is a really, really big stein of orange juice, by the way. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you. Thank you, Mecca. So this is the first beat. We started with the guitar, using the floor pedal, and then adding stuff in. Then this one, it's just the hi-hats. Now the reason why I put the hi-hat on separate is because I was worried it was going to be a little bit too loud and I couldn't adjust the volume, but then it turned out fine. But I can adjust the volume on this, so I can, and that's what I like about that. I do like that. And then comes the weird one. It's my little chicken noise. I know it's stupid, but if you listen to the original, it's got like a really weird... It's got like a boing noise. Yeah, it's got that real boing noise. So you add them together. Have that a little bit lower in the mix. And then our main bit, E, D, and A. So that's E, 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 D, A. Simple as that. Now the other thing as well is I left this on, let me just put this in a different format so you guys can see it. Let's just go like that. There we go. So I left this on loop number 4. And the reason is because when you play the breakdown, guitar back on for. We're going to play the breakdown, and what I'm going to do is I've got start stop on just this one. Everything is in place. You never A minor. The great thing is, because it's a start-stop, let's just stop that. Because it's a start-stop on this track, it's just on current track, and I've left it on current track there, so it's on track 4. So I can start and stop just that one, And obviously if I start, stop, all, they'll all play together. But the great thing is, I can start it before bar 1, beat 1. So have a listen. So I'm going to turn it off. Who's looking on? Because you want that da-da-da-da. You want that da-da-da-da. So the da-da is obviously bar 1, beat 1, but you want those 2 notes before it. Da-da-da-da. It's just a great way of bringing it back in. So. The second breakdown, it's all the way same all the way through. And then the thing is, the second breakdown, it's a bit longer. You never know who you're looking on. We go to G. Perfect body in the perfect G. And then you can start. Now before that, I didn't actually have track 5 playing, so I'm just going to turn it down. Otherwise it'll kick in. But then you go start. And it comes back in. Then obviously the last chorus. Now, one thing you could do is, I've not used the expression pedal at all on this, but you could do, and instead of using it as an expression pedal for voice, for volume, you could have it for assigning this. So when you get down to young punk spilling beer on my shoes, which is the last kind of verse, you've got this rocking and that's all cool, and then what you can do is you can have it so it's there. So what we'll do is we'll go young punk spilling beer on my shoes, fat guys talking to me trying to steal my blues. And then you could bring it back in sort of like with your foot, and obviously and just bring it back in. It's a nice little effect, I quite like it. So with certain songs, what I might do, I have like a sort of default patch for putting everything on one patch. But you could have different patches because you've got 99 different memories, and a loop ain't one. And you could actually have different memories doing different things. So you could actually have it where it assigned the expression pedal to track effect D, and then obviously adjust accordingly. So you could adjust that with your foot. Just an alternative there, just an alternative idea for you to have with the looper. And you could do that with the RC600, the RC505. If you're just totally using your foot, you could assign that to the expression pedal plugged into the RC600. I hope that makes sense. So, this, of course, is Tuesday Tunes with JP. Welcome. And also at the same time, you're welcome to ask me anything you like. Obviously, if you've got questions about looping, you've got questions about all kinds, you can do that. We do an AMA, which is Ask Me Anything live stream as well. Stopping you, you can put it in the chat and you can let me know. I hope this is obviously bringing some kind of value to your afternoon. Well, it's afternoon here in the UK, or if it's morning in the US, or if it's evening in Asia, wherever you're listening or hearing from, please let me know. I'm just going to mute this so I can unplug it, and we'll move over to the dadgad. Now, the great thing is, obviously, looping-wise, we are blessed. We are absolutely blessed with choice. And when I started looping, there was not a lot of choice. You didn't even have an RC 30 when I started looping. I used what Katie Tunstall used, which is the Akai Headrush E2 to begin with. It was one input, no undos. You only had about 20 or 30 seconds of looping, and that was it. And then you had to learn. So the good thing is kind of learn my chops through that, which is good. But you are blessed with undos and multiple tracks and effects and all kinds now. I sound like an old man, don't I? But I am. But there's loads you can do with it. So I've been playing around with this song. We had to carve our loops out of a virgin magnetic tape. For those who didn't understand what I was saying because I was too busy laughing, just read that. Nice. Honestly, Piers, just need to start your own comedy show, honestly. Or comedy podcast. That'd be quite fun. Now, I did a podcast, so speaking of, seeing the link there, that was a really good link. I didn't mean to do that, actually. I'm just going to be 100% honest, but it was a nice link. I do a podcast as well, which is the John Paul Music UK podcast. The latest one is Why I Play in Dadgad. So this is D-A-D-G-A-D. So it's not just drop D, you actually change the top two as well. If you want to go and check out the podcast, it's available at all good podcast players, and also my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk. So there we go. I need to send you that email about coming on a stream one Friday night. Yes, 100%. I'm there. Send it to me. I'll do it. Up for it. So this is this is a song that I've kind of dissected. Okay, so this is normally played on a piano or an electric piano or however we want to do it, because it's a Stevie Wonder number, and this is Superstition. Now, Superstition can be played in lots and lots and lots of different ways, and I kind of want to keep it at this point in the night when I'm playing this. Everyone's added a couple and up and dancing. You want to keep them going. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. Now, I've kind of tuned it to how I want to do it on the RC600. I've not done it yet on this at all, but it's the same sort of machine. So I want to see how this goes, but I've not actually rehearsed this at all. And that's the point. The point of Tuesday Tunes is actually just to see what we can do and what we can get away with and what we can play with. So we'll see how this goes. So this is Superstition, Stevie Wonder. We're going to try something new. Start a bit more. Superstitious, that is about to fall. Let's go, baby. The things in your hands.
7 years of bad luck. Good things in your past. Now. Ain't the way. Superstition ain't the way. Hey, Chris. Wash your face and hands. Get me out the problem. Do all that you can. Dream. Keep going strong. You don't wanna save me. That is my song. Superstition ain't the way. Superstition ain't the way. Just nothing more to say. There is superstition. The devil's on his way. Baby, glass. 7 years of bad luck. Superstition ain't the way. Now, that was interesting for me because I basically had to change the way I play it because of this machine. And I'll explain why in a minute. Now, you also may notice the loop's still going around because I used the expression pedal to end the loop. Still there. There we go, just drop it down to nothing. Really useful if you don't want to hit an all-start stop. It's just there. It's a nice big pedal. You can just go whoomp and pull it back. And there we go, and I can just hit stop there now. So first of all, how did I create this? I'm going to show you. So this is in DADGAD, so it's D, F sharp G, and that's pretty much it. And then obviously you got and on the A. Superstition in the way. So we always start with the beat. That's what I do normally. Start with the beat, which is this. It's all on track one. And that's cool. And then we've got this. Really simple. There's a little bit of bleed there from the PA, which is obviously my speaker over there. You listen very carefully, you can hear the drum beat in the background. But you want to keep it nice and simple, so when these two are together, you don't want to add too much, because you can always add more with your own playing of the guitar later. This one is the one that's interesting to me, because obviously I was using the effect.
So that's using the low pass filter and moving this up and down. And that's all cool. Now, with the RC600, what I normally do is when I get to the chorus, I turn both of these two off pretty quickly with my feet because I can go bang, bang, and just go off, off. With the way I've got this set up right now, I can change it, but the way I've got it set up right now with the Morningstar pedal, it's one track on and off, and then go down to another track on and off. So I have to do about twice the work, and that's why you also saw a little bit of a gap between the verse and the chorus, because you like it on its own. It's quite funny. So the way I've got this, and I'm going to actually put the guitar down, I'm going to bring the Morningstar up so you can see what's going on. So here's the Morningstar pedal, and I've done loads of videos on this, and what you can do is you can, let me just move this so you can see it, there we go, without reflections. So what I've got here is I've got record the current track, start and stop all, like start everything, stop everything, start everything, stop everything. This is loop decrease, this is loop increase. There we go. And that means basically as I press this button, it goes to, the little white dot goes across to the different track. Then I've got effects A, effects B, effects C, and this is at start, stop, the current track. Oh, sorry. Effects A, effects B, effects C, start, stop, the current track. Can you see that? Okay. I'll just call it start, stop 1, as in start, stop 1. And these are all programmed up, and then this is actually being controlled wirelessly with the WIDI master. So the only plug here is actually for power. And this is wireless MIDI going into here, which is wireless MIDI, and they just understand each other. So much so, it's even sending the BPM, which is really, really cool. I don't even have to do that, it just does it automatically. It does fluctuate a little bit, it says it's 110, 108. It's actually 108.7 on here. So it's not accurate, but it's sending it in between, which is really good. But the way I've got this set up, now I could actually have this set up so it's like loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4, and do it that way. I might do that in the future, actually, because what I can do is I can actually program it so any way I like, any way I want to. In fact, Chris has just said that. There you go. That is a generic setup for the MC8, or you could program it per song to get it the way you like. You're absolutely right. Yay, MIDI clock jitter. It doesn't matter though, because all it's sending the MIDI clock is solid in this. It's sending it out. I don't want it to send it in, otherwise it will fluctuate it, because this is the controller. This is the main thing. This is the main looper. So the way I've got this set up right now, of course, is the way I originally sort of loop with this. But what I might do is I might change it so that's record, play, stop for the track 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then track 5 can be my sort of extra, and then have these the way I want, or maybe that could be track 5 and then do it that way. But on the RC600, of course, you've got like tracks 1, 2, 3 with their own dedicated stop button. So I could go track 1, record, play, stop, and clear. Track 2 and track 3 and track 4, and do it that way. So it depends on what you want to do. But the way I've got it set up right now, it's difficult because these all three are going. So if I press all start, stop, there they go. And what I would normally do, let me just turn this down a bit. What I'd normally do is I'd normally turn this one off with my foot and then this one off really quick. And then I've just got the beat. And you go. And let me just turn that off. Superstition, that bit's easy. You just go, superstition ain't the way. Just turn that back on. But what I'm going to have to do, if I want to do it all by foot, is let's just keep this going. Let's just put this onto, it's on the right one right now. Just stop this one. That's stopping our little what was. And I'm going to have to go like this. If you believe in things. Did you see what I did there? So I'm going to have to learn this up by foot and go, if you believe. If you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Did a little superstition ain't the way. So I have to turn off the individual ones. So That to me is very interesting, and it's interesting because you can do it in multiple different ways. There's loads of different ways you could do it. Chris, you sound like you have my problem with the MCA. It can't settle on a default setup. I'm endlessly messing with it. I've found a per song approach gets the best results, but it's painful. It is, because you've got to program it per song, and that's fair enough. But also at the same time, as most loop artists do, I've got like one patch that does most songs. But then when you start doing things like that, you go, well, actually, that's going to need its own patch. But so then you're going to have to bend down or do whatever and kind of go, right, let's go to this track and let's go to this track. And that's fine, no problem. However, it depends on what you need. And there's obviously other pedals out there. It's just what I've got in-house at the moment. And there's loads of other pedals out there. You've got things like, well, there you go. Chris bought a second-hand Nectar Pacer, built like a tank, works fine with the RC505. There you go. There's your answer straight away. I've even seen a video of someone doing the basically really weird one, but they use the RC600 to control the 505. Why would you do that when you can? I don't understand it. Like, what do you want? 11 loops? I don't get it. So, like, I see it's a foot controller, but that's a very expensive foot controller when you can actually get a MIDI foot controller for a lot cheaper. That's just me. But yeah, that's really, really doing it in a way where you want to control everything. So you could do stuff with your hands and everything else, but because I'm so used to playing as a floor pedal-based loop artist, is that the right way of saying it? This is a bit alien to me unless I don't have a guitar with me. And now I've done songs which are just purely vocal, and that's fine. And I've done stuff where I've played and I've put the guitar down, and that's recorded in, and that's all I need. I don't need any more from it. So I could do it like that, where actually I put a guitar loop on here, and I put it down, but then you haven't got that sort of like, I don't know, just, I could add something in. So let's do that. Let's just do this as a test, right in front of you guys, live right now. So, and this is where the limitations of hardware come in, but then it's whether you want to go into software, right? So there we go. So let's go up. That was an E minor, silly boy. Try that again. Okay, so we got that in. Take that out and that out. And we'll record our next bit. Okay, so I've got them all in. So what I could do now is I could actually turn around and go, right, all of these are together now, these are all fine, I could add the bass in, and I'll add that in as a vocal loop, so now we've got, not playing anything, I played it all in already, put the guitar away. There is superstition, writings on the wall. There is superstition, love's about to fall. But in my soul, baby, broke down like a glass. 7 years of bad luck, good things in your past. I'm gonna turn these three off. If you believe in things that you don't understand, then it happens, yeah. Superstition ain't the way. Superstition ain't the way. There is superstition. Wash your face and hands. Rid me of the problems. least they're still playing. I've got them down.
Do all that you can.
Give me an daydream.
You've been going strong.
This is playing, but this is down.
You don't wanna save me. Sad as my song. If you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer, yeah. Superstition ain't the way. Superstition ain't the way.
So you get the idea. So could do it that way, where I play everything in and then I put the guitar down. But the problem with that is it's boring for the people watching. It's really good for people who are loop artists. Oh, look what he did there. Well, that's really cool. Isn't that great? But if you're in a pub on a Saturday night and then you're putting all this down and everything else, it's 4 or 5 minutes before you've got it all together and you haven't even sung the first verse yet. So you want things to be quick, but also at the same time you want to make sure that it is like right for the amount of time you've got looping. You want it to sound okay, if not good or excellent, and you want to make sure that it sounds right. I could save that now and save it like that, no problem at all, and I could just go to a gig and go with it. That's my guitar's in there, and then not play the guitar, and just be really pedantic about it. But I don't want to do that. I want to play the guitar and I want to actually play and sing at the same time. There are other tracks I've done which are completely passable as looping vocal-only tracks, as I've said before. And that's where this really comes into its own, because you can start really messing with it. For example, I put this on as a YouTube short saying, should I release this? So. Now, obviously, a different kind of feel.
You were lost and I can't find you.
And there we go. That's the kind of song, and that's the way it is. So it's all vocal loops. There's no instrument other than my voice in there, and that works. Using the effects there. You can even. And use the effect there when I was singing. And this is more what things like the beatboxers do. Obviously, they create lots of different things, and they use banks of effects to change the way those normal loops sound. And they change the loops as well. So they'll delete the loop and add a different one on. So they'll do different ways of doing it. But from a singer-songwriter point of view, that's kind of like the loop, and that's it. That's cool. But I can always add things and take things away. But how am I going to structure the loop? And the thing that's more about what it is, and there's two things: structuring the loop, breaking it down into its parts, and then also how am I going to control it? If I'm playing a guitar, a keyboard, a saxophone, I don't play saxophone. If I'm playing the kazoo, I've got a kazoo in there, and I'm doing this. How am I going to control the way this happens? So things like, obviously, like you said there, the Nectar is a really, really good option. There's loads of different MIDI controllers, of course. The PCB 1010 has been around for years, to the point where it's obsolete and people have upgraded the chip. Like, the Behringer need to just bring a new version out, and that I think everyone would buy one if they just took that, kept the 2 expression pedals on there, kept the pedals the same, but just upgraded the internals with maybe a bigger LCD display, and I think everyone would get it. Like Behringer would just make an absolute stonking fortune if they just brought a new version of that out. But yeah, so there we go. Fun and games. Right, let's go back to the chart, because you guys are charting and I'm just wittering on about this. Cool, yeah. Probably MC8 can't settle on default no, bought it no, coming up with a control scheme that gives you economy of action. I like that. Economy of action. Nice. You should start a blog there, Piers. I get wanting 11 loops, though. I use Ableton Live for most part. Oh, do you? You use Ableton? Chris, that's very interesting. Cool. So how do you plug in with Ableton, and are you using Ableton's onboard effects? And if so, how do you control them? Are you touching the laptop? Or do you have a separate controller like an APC or a push or something like that? Let me know. The push is really, really interesting to me. I've never, ever, ever used one, but the push too. The Akai Force is something that really interests me. Younger uses that now as his main looper, which is really interesting, but still has a computer connected to it, I think. I'm trying to get in. I really would like to just grab him and sit him down and ask him some questions. Yeah, the good thing about the MC8 is it's really programmable. And the other thing as well, of course, let me just get it again, is you've got, let me just change this so you guys can see. There we go. So, of course, that's the buttons. Now, you press that, or you press that, or you press that. You can send 16 MIDI messages at the same time with one button press. And they don't all have to be on and off. They could go, cool, click that and send a wah signal or a path. And then on the back, you've got loads of connections. So I could connect another expression pedal. I could connect a MIDI out to something else. So this is just the beginning with this. I mean, the usability of this is unreal. And then on top of that, if I click these two together, I've got another 8 that I've not even used yet. But it means you've got to click. It's like going on to mode 2 or mode 3 on the RC600. You've got to click it. I think we all just want every pedal available, every button available to us, without having to sort of do pedal dancing. I think that's the key one. Chris, this is how I use my MC8. I messed around for my MIDI controllers, mostly went through Ableton, yeah. So, flexibility, yeah, we're talking about that, weren't we? We're talking about flexibility in a previous podcast about flexibility. Oh, you like the flexibility I've got going on? I didn't read that properly, so thank you. At any moment, if you want to adjust the volume or take a loop away or whatever, it's at the tip of your fingers or toes. Yeah, that's the thing about this. Whereas my main looper I use is the RC600, and you have to do a little bit more pedal dancing. But you're right, it is at your tip of your toes if you program it rightly. So, for example, I've got a patch, like one of the memories on the RC600 it's got two of the buttons are effects, not a loop. So I can reprogram it how I want it per song, and that's kind of what you were suggesting with the MC8, like program it per song, as it were. So I get that. But yeah, it depends on what you're going to do. And then Piers, you're absolutely right, talking about experimenting with different things. You've got to experiment to figure out whether it's right for you. Loads of people who actually I've spoken to who are like, oh, I tried looping. I didn't get on with it, so I don't bother anymore. And that's fine, because based on what those people, I always ask, what pedal did you use, or what did you use, or what did you use? And they always go, oh yeah, it was a Boss RC20 or a Boss RC30, or an RC3 or a 5. It was always a pedal. I was like, why don't you try something else? Why? All looping is different depending on which pedal or which tabletop or which software you're using or an app. So they may not get on with it because it might not be the right fit for them. It might not be that you want a floor-based looper, you want a tabletop looper, or you want a software looper or a app looper. So it depends, and people go, I don't get on with it because maybe they can't get the timing of their feet while they're playing the guitar. So it's just, it is an instrument, and I do see looping as an instrument. So it depends on what you need. You guys have had a great chat while I've been blogging away and going mental. There we go. Piers does have a blog. Oh, Piers has a blog, everyone. Piers has a blog. Right. Put the blog up. Come on. Show all. Share the wealth. Appears using a Mac Mini M1 in a rack case, so small and capable. Yeah, the Mac Mini, the new M series is just fantastic. Now, matey, I have a Push 2 and Force. Both of them are great. With the Force, it's in an Ableton Lite in a box when you go standalone. So hang on a minute. I'm reading that for the first time. Sorry. So you're saying that basically Ableton, a version of Ableton, is it actually a version of Ableton, or is it just Akai's version of like what looks like Ableton is inside the Force? Because that is really, really interesting. More buttons and more things to remember. Yeah, it does. That's cool, matey. Because if that's I can see why things like people like Younger use it, because if it's got that standalone capability, that's really, really cool. But I've looked at the Akai Force before. It'd be really interesting if I end up like using the Akai Force, and I started with the Akai E2 Headrush E2 pedal, and I end with an Akai Force. I'm not ending with an Akai Force. I love the RC600. I actually love the 505 as well. There's some things that I can do with the 505 I just couldn't do, like, because of the timing. So where was that song? Was it gonna? Yeah. So I'm gonna bring the. Let me just turn that back off. Sorry. I'm gonna bring the other camera back up. Have a look at this. Watch the speed of this. I was mucking about. I could tap that with my foot, I suppose. But because it's like... Again, using that low pass filter. I love that low pass filter. That's what I was trying to do. So a 16th pattern slicer on this. See how much louder that is? And it cuts right down. The threshold is like +2 gain. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. So because I'm able to sort of play around with it and play around with the effects and tweak it a lot faster than you can with an RC600, then I think that's why I'm able to do this. Now, having said all of that, there is an answer. Okay, there is an answer to all of this, which is, hang on, I'm doing the wrong thing. There we go. There's an answer to all of this. And the answer is having something like this for the RC600. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to find a way that I can have tabletop and floor pedal at the same time. Now either I could stick with this and then get a really good MIDI control floor pedal, and that would make perfect sense. The alternative is stick with the RC600 and get a tabletop like something like the Akai APC40. However, the APC40 doesn't work very well with it. It doesn't communicate very well because you've got different patches for different things. This is kind of dedicated to the looper, but you're losing a track. You're losing sort of like the 6th track. And I do use the 6th track every once in a while, only when I'm spreading things out. So it's really, really useful, and I really am enjoying the 505. However, when it comes to, if I'm just messing around with just a microphone and this and stuff, it's real good fun, and it is. However, when you come in to play something, then that's when the confusion comes in, because it's like, well, you need to play and hit this really, really quickly. And I've just noticed what Piers has just said, just there, that said that beatboxer trick of a 1-beat loop for their kicks makes so much inhumanly tight beat. It does. And they do this all the time, so they go and there's only one, so they'll do this, two, so go. But the problem is, you've got to remember where bar 1, beat 1 is with the old version of the software. Now, what you can do is you can set this to per measure, and you can just go. I mean, I'm slow there, but compared to beatboxers, but obviously. And that bar 1 is that beat 1, that loop 1, as it were. That is, as you said, insanely tight. So, look at that. How fast that's moving. Halo, anyone? Now that's something I could never do with the 600. So you've got an independent volume control for each one, and you could muck around with this. Now the sliders are really, really like loose, I would say. They're not tight sliders, but that's more like a DJ slider. So need a little bit of bleed from my PA there, but never mind. So this has got the pattern slicer on. Let's put this on now. Now, as long as you've got your timing right, yes, you can. So Paige has just asked a really good question, but before we get to that, I'll just obviously talk about things. So, Chris, you must put on a great pub show. I've never seen you live stream a gig, so I thought I'd watch a show. Thanks. Yeah, no, I do. I think that without sounding too biased, I do put on quite a good show. I think I do. I get some good gigs. But what I want to show you is, let's just put it. Can we put it that way? Is that all right? They're not going to fall? No. So, yes, you can, Piers. Piers has just asked the question, can you resample that fader wiggle loop? Yes, you can. What you can do is you can actually do it where you can tell the looper to bounce. So you could say, well, bounce this to there, and you can actually turn a couple of things on and resample that into another loop. So that it becomes another loop, and then you could delete that one and just do something else with it. So you could obviously, at that point when I'm doing that, I'm not looping, I'm not singing, I'm DJing myself, pretty much. And that's kind of where it's a really, really different thing. So this is where a couple of the differences between the RC505 and the RC600 come into it, because you've got things like these control knobs for obviously the input effects and the track effects that you can adjust. Now you could do that with an expression paddle, but then you've got to make sure it's on the right thing. The instant access to the input effects and the track effects are just phenomenal because you can instantly access them. And then if I go and turn all them on, all 4 of them on, and I hold down, I go to bank B, hold it down. There we go. So I'm on, see it's gone blue, just there. I can go to bank B, and as soon as I do that, I'm off. If I hold it down while something's going on and go back to bank A, they all come back on again. So you could program it up so all 4 banks have got different things switched on, save it like that, and then what you do is just go bank, 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 bank. And of course you could do that with a pedal. You could just bank up and bank down. You can do that in the assigns, which is also something you can do. And just how quickly you can just go boop, and then with all 4 fingers, your digits. So you could do it that way. Matey. Force integration with Ableton is the second after push 2. In the new Force software upgrade, the added disk streaming, which is no other competitor's box offer. Oh, right, okay. Actually do it like all internally. You don't need a computer. That's really clever. So if you're just joining us, this is Tuesday Tunes with JP. Oops, what did I do there? There we go. Let's do that. There we go. The loopers are an instrument unto themselves these days. They are, absolutely. And the thing is with loopers, you've got to learn them. You've got to learn not just the technique of looping, but also what's available to you. And, you know, you've got loopers that used to be like when as soon as you've done a loop and it's 4 bars long, every other part of it is 4 bars. That's it. You can't change it. Now you can tat 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 tat. I can change the volume. I can change the volume. I can make a mistake like that. I can undo that. See how quickly you can loop. You can just loop incredibly quickly. And the other thing as well is if I just put those 3 on, let's just go. You see that? So I was able to overdub on this, and I hit this one at the end of that loop. I didn't even stop that one, and it automatically turned off and started recording on that. That's how quick it is. So this is phenomenal in that respect, and you can do that on the RC600 as well. So they're brothers-in-law, as it were. I don't know what you want to call them. They're the same brain inside, so it can actually do it where you can just have loads of different things going at the same time, and then you can just hit record on this one, and then we'll stop recording and automatically sort of sync up depending on what you're doing. And then depending on how you've got it set up in the loop system, whether you've got it per measure or end of loop or whatever, then it's really going to change how you play and how the performance is affected. So that it's really good. Piers, more fun to leave the mistake and make it part of the loop. Yes, I've told the story before about a guy who shouted the word Dave because he was waiting for his mate, and he was right here, and just went Dave straight into the microphone, and it just carried on. I just left it in there. Can't wait for LP to get adjustable feedback. Loopy Pro. When you say LP, my brain goes old school LP. You mean Loopy Pro, don't you? Adjustable feedback. That'd be quite interesting. Yeah, I like that. Nice. So there's loads of things you can do with this, obviously, and it is a looper. It is a 5-track looper. The RC600 is a 6-track looper, and of course, it depends on what you need. Now, I'm not here to tell you which looper you need, but obviously in the description box on both YouTube and Facebook, as we're streaming right now, there are some links there if you do want to pick yourself up a looper. And then, of course, they are affiliated links. They obviously help me out, but at no additional cost to you. And at the same time, this live stream is actually sponsored. It's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution company where you give your songs to them. They push it out to all the online stores and digital streaming sites around the world. It's about 165 now. So in the US, there's a system which is called Pandora. We don't get that in the UK. Pandora are the little charms that go around your bracelets. And there's loads of different streaming sites around the world you may never have heard of, but you could be streamed there, you could be found there, and they can push it out to all these different places and you get paid. Now, most music distributors will charge you per release. DistroKid charge you one price per year, which starts at $19.99, and that's to release as much music as you want. You could release looping experiments, you could release singles, EPs, LPs, albums, live streams, live recordings of your show. You could, as much as you want. You can even do covers as well, and they'll find you the right license. Now, as I say, it starts at $19.99 because they've got a couple of different tiers. So the other one that I'm on is Musicians Plus, which is $35.99. It's about £31, £30 for the whole year. To release as much as you want, but you can actually do 2 outfits, and you can actually schedule the time of the release, which is really important to me when you're kind of marketing yourself and making sure that your stuff's out there. And it's really useful to do that because you can do the pre-saves, get loads of people to pre-save on Spotify, and the day it releases, you get a big boost and get a big jump up, which is good. I just released a track which is called Trying to Say Hello, and DistroKid, no, over there you go. DistroKid, sorry, I thought it was that way. It's mirrored on my screen. DistroKid actually have now done a new one, which is called DistroVid, which is $99 for the whole year to release as many music videos as you want to. So with my new single called Trying to Say Hello, I released a music video as well, why not? And then that also gets pushed out to Apple Music, Amazon Music, Tidal, for music videos, but the big one is Vivo. So you get an official Vivo channel for yourself as an artist, which is huge because loads of people watch Vivo, and you can actually get a Vivo artist channel and you can promote that. That just gives you another step up, I think, in the digital industry, as it were. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is they are sponsoring this live stream, and the reason they're sponsoring this live stream is because we talk about music and music releases and everything else, and there's a link that's on the screen now. If you give that link a click, it's in the description box below. It gives you 7% off your first annual membership with DistroKid. So I just want to thank them for obviously sponsoring this live stream. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually end this live stream with another song, and I'm going to show you how I made it. So if you give us a second, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this here. Now, I need to change the guitars. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the menu and just click this, and this will mute the guitar, so now I can unplug it. Which is handy, because I've got a pedal that does that, which is the TC Helicon Voice Live Play Acoustic. Someone asked me only 2 days ago, can it not mute the guitar, but it's actually designed so you can tune up and keep the guitar muted. So no, there's no way around that with the TC Helicon Voice Live Play Acoustic. Ugh. So if you are finding value out of this, or you just want to see me drink a lot of orange juice, then give this live stream a thumbs up. That helps me. It also pushes it out to more people. Serving the algorithms. Right then, I make 40-year-old man noises when I bend down. I go, oh. Right then, 2, 2, 2. Have you guessed the song yet?
Coming out of a cage, I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. Started off with a kiss, didn't end up like this. It's only a kiss, yes, it's only a kiss. Now I'm falling asleep, just calling a cab. Having a smoke, yeah, she's taking a drag. I'm going to bed, and my stomach is sick. It's all in her head now, she's touching his chest. Now he takes off her breath. Now let me go. I just can't look, it's killing me. Freaking control.
You're welcome, mate.
Jealousy, turning saints into the sea, swimming through sick lullaby, joking on your alibi. But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up your eager eyes, 'cause I missed the bright side. Coming out of a cage, I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. Started off with a kiss, I did it end up like this. It was only a kiss, it was only a kiss. Now I'm falling asleep and she's calling a cab. Having a smoke, yeah, she's taking the drag. And they're going to bed, and my stomach is sick. It's all in my head. Now she's touching his chest. Now he takes off her dress. Now let me go. I just can't love, it's killing me. Thinking control. Turning saints into the sea, swimming through thick lullaby, joking on your alibi. But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up your eager eyes, 'cause I missed the bright side. The bright side. And I never, and I never, and I never. And I never, and I never, and I never, and I never. And I
Cheers. So that was a slow version of Mr. Brightside, the Killers. And that is nearly on like capo 5, but I took it off the capo because otherwise it kills my throat. And Chris, sorry to see you go. I hope you're having a good day. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of break down how we did this, and I'm going to show you how we kind of controlled this. So the first one is obviously the beat. And we'll put this back up because at the ending I used the pedal to just kill it as well. Killers, let's get it. No, I'm joking. So, nice slow beat. And then we've got our chorus. Well, this is the verse really. So I'm just going to undo. This is a G, an F sharp, and then a C, if you don't know how to play. And then with the bass line, using that. And then we've got our harmonies on a little bit later after that. These are in single mode, basically loop 2 and loop 3 are in single mode. And then we go into our chorus. You have to be careful there, don't you? This is the end half. But now E minor, takes off her D, and then going into C. A little bit of harmonies as well. And I just can't love, it's killing me, breaking control. We'll go back into this one. Jealousy in the sea, swimming through sick lullaby. Carry on with that. And then the very end, we've got I Never. So put it on this one, the fourth one. Down. So put this one on the fourth one. Nice big long reverb on that. Bring these all back in. And then the ending was actually a fade out using the pedal, using the volume pedal. Just left with me playing the last chords, as it were. And there we go. That's how we do it. So the other thing as well is you may have seen me set up, and it took a minute or two to set up because I actually forgot to do it on this and right in the moment, but these two need to be in single mode, so to track 2 and track 3, and they were all in multi. So I just was able to change that whilst the beat was going on. But I would normally have that set up in a certain way. I do have a single mode version where on the RC600, which is these two, so tracks 1 and 2 are in multi, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 are actually in single mode. So that way you can actually control it pretty quickly. I just didn't have that set up in that particular moment, but that's just the way it was, and I was able to set that up pretty quickly, if I'm honest. So there we go. That is basically the Killers, Mr. Brightside, just a slow version, as opposed to, obviously, the normal high-speed version, just a little bit of a difference, a little bit of echoey and niceness. So I just want to thank you very much for obviously joining us for this live stream. If you've missed any of this live stream, then it will be available on replay as soon as we end, which is going to be in a minute or two. Last thing, of course, is obviously this is sponsored by our friends at DistroKid. I just want to thank you very much for obviously coming along this afternoon. And also, if you are looking for a way to distribute music, I'll click the link that's down there. And also, if you like what you've seen, then give this a thumbs up for me. That really, really helps me. Or you can do a super thanks, which is obviously a little heart with a $sign through. And finally, if you are looking at picking yourself up a looper, then you can do. There's some links underneath that take you to some of the best places to go and grab yourself a loop pedal or a tabletop looper, depending on what you're looking for. So guys, thank you very much for joining us today, and we will see you on the next one. Ta-ta.
Mm-hmm.